So in the last couple of weeks, the police have held something like 600 million worth of counterfeit clothing and shoes. They were seized on Barry Street by the Counterterrorism and Organized Crime Investigation Branch. That was the one yesterday. Here to tell us what happened and how they're moving forward is Assistant Superintendent Victor Barrett. Morning, sir.
Morning to you.
Welcome to Smile Jamaica.
Good morning.
Morning to you. Morning.
I think the first question must be how you know it's counterfeit.
Well, we are trained, so we can identify, the component and parts of goods. You can look at the labeling, the stitching, and there are some unit numbers that are assigned to some products that we use to identify these products.
What are some of the products that were seized the other day?
Nike, Puma, Gucci, Converse, Chanel, all the brands, the big brands.
Okay. All of the big brands. So the organization is the CTOC,
Yes.
which is the Counterterrorism and Organized Crime Investigation Branch. What leads did you get, that made you go in, and how long does it take to investigate these things?
Well, as you know, for us at the CTOC, investigative approach is a process, not an event. So it might take us years, 6 months, depending on where we get information.
Okay.
So we are very systematic in our approach. So to answer your question, we have operatives on the street, intel operatives, just like how we do guns and drugs.
Okay.
So the same methodology.
So who's bringing in these counterfeit products?
Your guess is as good as mine. But for sure, they are on the streets of Jamaica.
Yeah.
And we have a mandate at the Counterterrorism and Organized Crime Branch to rid the streets of counterfeit goods.
Okay, I read somewhere that in one of the newspapers, maybe it was the Jamaica Gleaner, that mentioned two Chinese operated stores, Chinese descent or Chinese nationals. Do you have that information to share with us? Because we know that they have a lot of wholesales downtown, and that's what was written in the newspaper. So I'm just wondering, is it Jamaicans? Is it Chinese?
All right. They are Chinese nationals, but I want to make it abundantly clear that the Jamaica Constable Force and by extension CTOC, we are not targeting any specific group or nationality.
Okay, yeah.
We follow the evidence. So anywhere it leads us, that's where we go.
Okay.
When you hear something like that, say here's a Neville Bella sell some shoes where I'm not supposed to sell. Do you go to Neville Bella and say, boy, we hear you up to something, stop it, or we're coming back for you, or you just go and grab Neville?
All right, the fact is, if we hear Neville selling a particular item, we do our surveillance and our strategy, which I don't want to reveal.
Yep.
Then once we have the evidence, then once you are engaged in these activities, it's a crime.
So we have a warning first?
No, because we have statutes.
Right.
So we have to enforce the law.
Okay.
Right? So then and there, then when we have enough evidence, then we come to Neville, and then we look at the establishment, look at what you have, and then within the confines of the law, we operate.
And then what happens? So you take away the stuff that I have because you know it's counterfeit, and it is in fact counterfeit. You take away all of that. What happens? You close down my business, you lock me up. What happens after that?
All right, then the matter is put before the court, and depending on the outcome, then if you are convicted, then the court will order that the goods be destroyed.
Yeah.
And for example, next week we have the JIPO, that is Jamaica Intellectual Property Office Week, JIPO Week, where we do destructions of all counterfeit goods across the island.
The folks downtown give you guys a hard time because they're saying them don't have no problem with it. They're buying, they're selling back, they're making some money.
And it's cheaper for them to purchase those.
So, that is not in your purview. If something is wrong and you fix it, so you're not too concerned about that, are you?
Well, we understand the challenges that face some, of our citizens, the disposable income, but at the same time, we have a brand culture, and people want to wear brands. But we have responsibility because with counterfeit goods, it impacts organized crime. It impacts...
How does it impact organized crime?
Because when you look at the mapping of counterfeit goods, the European Union Intellectual Property Office and the OECD, they did an investigation, and the industry is about 500 to 600 billion, which is like 2.5% of world trade. What happens now is that these organized criminals, they find counterfeit measures, they call it soft crime, and they get involved in counterfeiting, raise the cash to buy arms and ammunition, to create havoc on society.
Let's look at the other negative impacts it has on our country with trade, with investment, reputation. Tell me how it impacts the country.
Well, it impacts the country negatively because, for example, again, I'm not an agent for Nike or Puma, but you have brands like Nike and Puma, and they have outlets in Jamaica. And imagine then the counterfeit industry with Nike and Puma. So that legit business won't generate income, which might eventually cost unemployment. Then the formal structure, taxation, so the informal side of the operation, the taxes are not going into the consolidated fund. And the other aspect now is in relation to the reputation. For example, you buy a shoes, counterfeit shoes, and then within a month, something happens. Then that brand loyalty, and then it costs the country, that company, a lot of cash to protect that brand.
Yeah. Are you looking at everything that's sold here? Because you have generic stuff. Some say like you go to, say, a pharmacy and you have generic stuff. Do you look at that to ensure that these things are
like pharmaceuticals and stuff like that? Is there counterfeit pharmaceuticals on the market?
I'm happy you mentioned it because this is huge. This is big business. And we have the Ministry of Health. They have a department that monitors the pharmacies. But in terms of counterfeit pharmaceutical, the end result, the victim suffers.
Yep.
You buy a Dilantin, which is a medication for blood pressure, and imagine
it don't work.
It don't work.
Yeah. Yep.
You buy a drug for probably a Viagra. I'm not saying use Viagra, but you buy a Viagra and it don't work.
Salt after that.
You know,
and not to single out any country, but the South American country that the government, they procured medicine for their citizens with all good intent.
Okay.
They bought ingredients from China, and a component of the medicine turned out to be poison.
Wow.
And 100 of their citizens died.
Wow.
I have to come in here and ask you, and I'm sure you've had this conversation, our borders, our customs, what do we need to do to have early intervention before it reaches a market? Is it that we're not controlling our borders and is customs not doing its job? I mean, this is a real question because I'm asking how does it land?
Because it doesn't come from the sky. So it's a real question. But a lot has been done and more can be done. You know?
Is there a suggestion that maybe someone is facilitating all this apart from the persons who actually do the buying? Because as Empress said, it has to pass someone.
Who is it getting through? I mean, we have to at some point, we have to talk about accountability. I mean, we can't be flirting around the thing and skirting around the issues. Who is responsible and accountable for these things landing in downtown, landing on Barry Street?
That's a real question. That's a real question.
You're working at it.
We have some leads and we're working at it.
Well, please do.
All right. You said earlier that you didn't want to say everything, but you have said, or this story said, that you guys are going to the rural areas in Montego Basin and St. Thomas, Westmoreland. It was actually a quote from you.
Yes. I mean, wherever, as I said, wherever evidence takes us, and we police the entire Jamaica and 12 miles at sea. That's our borders. So wherever it takes us, we will be there.
All right, sir. Thanks for coming. But since you get me involved in this, how would I know whether the Viagra no good or not before I take it?
Well, you can look at the color. Look at the color. You can look at the label.
Is it blue, really?
Well, Devil?
Mr. Barrett, I don't know.
Well, you know, when I asked ASP the question, Lanya answer, I said, they call him, I like, no, oh, Lanya, no. No, did she not say? When I asked the ASP, Lanya said, they call that change. Oh, you know. Thank you, sir.
Okay,
good work.
Thanks,
you get me involved. You know, say, SPRTs you're not going to get. All right. Assistant Superintendent Victor Barrett from CTAC.